All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being part of our live studio audience. Now, how many of you have been with us here before at KSDMT? All right, well, we thank you for that. For those of you unaccustomed to the rituals of a live radio broadcast, you all play a very important part. Now, when that sign is illuminated, like so, all of you. And so just for fun, let's try a quick one, huh? That was good. Best one yet. All right. Equally as important, if you find something funny, please feel free to laugh and laugh loud so Uncle Tim and Aunt Betty, who are at home, can hear you. I'd also like to remind you to please dismantle any sound of any electronic gizmo you may have in your person. And I'd also like to point out that this exquisite studio is equipped with 3 emergency exits for your safety. Okay, looks like here we go. We're on air in 5, 4, 3, 2. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the KSDMT Radio Hour live from our Horton Grand Studio in dazzling downtown San Diego. You'll love tonight's story, that classic Christmas tale of magic and hope, Miracle on 34th Street. Join me in welcoming our stars. You've heard his crazy characters over your radios for years and seen his surprising Boris the Veterinarian on screen, Wallace Ainsley.
Oh, call me Wally, folks. Is it hot in here or is it you? It's definitely me.
She sings, she dances, she's the comedian of Canada, that fearless female of funny, Olivia Blatt. A list of credits as deep as a Wild West watering hole, the handsome star of on board's the Salmon Saloon, Mr. Grady Williams.
Oh, good evening, folks.
Star of stage and screen, she currently treads the Broadway boards in the new smash musical Adagio, Miss Cordelia Ragsdale. Sometimes called the other DeMarco sister. You've seen her in MGM's long-running Sissy, the 7-year-old space pirate series, America's funkiest space explorer, Little Gracie DeMarco. Who shines the blinding light of justice into the twisted eyes of evildoers? Beware the glare of the bull. Here's the bull himself, Mr. Christopher Van Lisburn. Presents Miracle on 34th Street, brought to you by Tupperware.
If you need freshness when saving your meal, grab your Tupperware and use our perfect seal.
Pack it in there.
Where?
Tupperware. That's where.
City, on a broad avenue adjoining Central Park, an annual event is joyfully awaited by thousands. The spectacular parade presented by Macy's Department Store to herald in the Christmas season.
Look out the window, join the brigade. Everyone's watching the Macy's parade. It's that time of Thanksgiving when everyone meets here in Manhattan, right out on the streets, to spread goodwill and cheer. The most wonderful time of the year.
We've got marching bands and cadets,
And we've even got the Rockettes. With it all around you from out of the sky, you won't believe your eyes.
everywhere,
Everywhere.
up in the air,
In the air.
giant balloons.
up in the sky.
Where?
It's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman.
And Felix the cat, the wonderful, wonderful cat.
So before you pop the cord, if you haven't seen Macy's, you haven't seen New York.
Tucked away from the crowd, however, is Doris Walker of Macy's Public Relations Division, who has organized the entire parade while waiting for her department head.
Mr. Shellhammer,
She's dealing with a less than joyful situation.
you can barely stand. You smell of booze
And nothing. I've been Santa Claus in this parade
for the last time. You're fired.
Oh, fired, huh? Fine. I didn't even need this job anyway. The nerve. Firing a guy because he likes the occasional sidecar. And the occasional martini. And the occasional...
Wonderful. Mr. Shellhammer's on his way down, and the centerpiece of our celebration is 3 sheets. Now where am I going to find a white-bearded jolly Saint Nick?
Pardon me, I couldn't help overhearing.
You are perfect. Have you any experience as Santa?
Oh, a bit. Kris Kringle.
Doris Walker, a pleasure. Now please hurry, the parade's about to begin.
Nothing goes together like Santa and Macy's.
Nothing goes together like Santa and Macy's.
Joy to the world, hey, the time has come. 'Cause Santa Claus is coming.
Look at Santa Claus, here comes Santa, right down the lane.
Look at the crazy crowd, they're really going insane. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh,
Oh, what fun it's gonna be to follow Santa to Herald Square. Oh,
jingle bells, jingle everywhere. Everybody's going, so I hope to see you there. Everybody's going, and I hope to see you there.
What do you think, Mr. Shellhammer?
He is simply wonderful, Mrs. Walker. Just look at him on that float. The most realistic Santa Claus we've ever had. Why, I bet he didn't even need any padding, did he?
Padding.
Well, didn't you notice his tummy? So round, so jolly. Oh, it shakes when he laughs.
Oh, like a bowl full of jelly.
Just like, where on earth did you find him?
I don't know. He just tapped me on the shoulder with that magnificent cane, and I turned around, and there he was.
And to think our last Santa Claus showed up to work tight.
Oh, tight as a knot.
Just imagine if Mr. Macy had seen him.
Just imagine if Mr. Gimble had seen him. Competition between our 2 stores is tough enough.
Well, the parade's starting. Let's go stand at the curb.
Not I, Mr. Shellhammer.
But you worked so hard on the parade.
Yes, and that is exactly why I am going home to relax. Besides, I live right around the corner. I can see it from there.
Ah, yes, of course. Happy Thanksgiving, Mrs. Walker. And congratulations on finding the best Santa Claus in Macy's history.
Nothing goes together like Santa and Macy's.
More than butter and bread.
More than Hepburn and Tracy.
So, before you pop the cork, if you haven't seen Macy's, you haven't seen New York.
The parade continues past the window of one Fred Gailey, whose Park Avenue apartment is just down the hall from Doris Walker's.
Well, it certainly is a lovely parade, Susan. Would you look at that baseball player balloon?
It was a clown balloon last year. Mother said they repainted it to look like Joe DiMaggio so they could capitalize on the World Series Yankees win.
Well, baseball player or clown, it is certainly a giant.
Giant, Mr. Bailey. There's no such thing as giants.
Well, not now maybe, but in the olden days there were.
Come on, Mr. Bailey, you're a lawyer.
Well, what about the giant that Jack killed in the fairy tale?
First off, Jack was a thief who broke into someone's home and took things that didn't belong to him. Secondly, I agree with my mother. It's just a fairy tale, and fairy tales are silly nonsense.
Well, that baseball player sure looks like a giant to me. Come in, it's open.
Hello, I'm Doris Walker, Susan's mother. My housekeeper said...
Oh, hello, Mother. I'm watching the parade. Mr. Gailey invited me.
Hello, darling.
Susie's told me quite a lot about you, Mrs. Walker.
Oh, well, she's told me quite a lot about you, too. The man in the front apartment.
Parade's much better than last year.
May I get you some coffee?
Please, if it isn't too much trouble.
No trouble, it's already made. Here you are.
Thank you. And I also want to thank you for being so kind to Susan. I'm not around as often as I'd like, and she doesn't play with many children.
Well, in truth, this was part of a plot. Susie and I have become great friends since I moved in last year, but, well, I've wanted to meet you for some time, Mrs. Walker.
Well, at least you're frank.
Fred.
There goes another one of your silly giants, Mr. Gailey.
Susie tells me you don't approve of fairy tales.
I don't. I think we should be truthful and completely realistic with our children.
Ho, ho, ho,
There
ho!
goes Santa Claus.
Oh, don't even mention that name in front of me.
Why not, Mother?
Well, that Santa you see there is a last-minute substitution.
But why?
Well, do you remember how the janitor was last New Year's?
Oh my, tight as a knot. That's your sort of thing.
That's right, she never has.
Well, that's the end of the parade. Mother, I've been thinking, it's almost Thanksgiving and we have such a big turkey. Couldn't we invite Mr. Gailey?
Well,
Oh, please don't bother. I'll just slap together a sandwich or something.
Did I ask her all right, Mr. Gailey? She said it added a bit about that size of the turkey to strengthen the peel.
Yeah, Susie, that part was confidential.
You asked fine, Susan. Dinner's at 3, Mr. Gailey. We'll expect you there not a minute later.
Or earlier.
Later, at dinner down the hall in Doris's apartment.
I don't know. What did one vegetable say to the other one on their long walk?
Let us rest. I'm feeling beat.
Very funny, Mr. Gailey.
Oh, well played, Susie. Mrs. Walker, this meal beats the pants off of that sandwich I would have made.
Oh, thank you. This was a wonderful idea you had, Susan. I really am having a wonderful... Oh, excuse me, won't you?
Of course. So, Susie, tell me.
Hello?
Mrs. Walker,
Yes, Mr. Shellhammer?
your maid told me you were having Thanksgiving dinner, and I apologize for the interruption, but I just had to tell you, your Santa Claus today was stupendous!
Oh, thank you.
Mr. Macy himself wants him to be our toy department Santa
Oh,
Claus.
fine. Can you hire him?
Oh, I already have. The way he captivated that crowd today. Oh, he's a born salesman. I can feel it.
Wonderful. We'll talk about it in the morning. Thanks for calling, Mr. Shellhammer.
Santa's in his workshop, working with his elves.
Making sure the toys they make will
Get up upon the shelves. Toys made for all children by the elves that he employs.
Send them all to Macy's,
The home of Christmas toys.
It's the day after Thanksgiving at Macy's department store. A day beloved by employees and customers alike. And Chris prepares for his first day of work.
Here he is, Mr. Shellhammer. Here's Santa Claus.
Oh, thank you, Alfred. He's Alfred the elf. Well, good morning, Santa Claus.
Oh, good morning, Mr. Shellhammer.
Now, before you make your way to the toy department, here is a list of items that we have to push.
Push.
You know, here's a list of items that we're overstocked on. You'll find that a great many children will be undecided as to what they want for Christmas. When that happens, you immediately suggest one of the items on this list, you understand?
Oh, I certainly do.
Oh, that's fine, that's fine. Here, take this list, and Alfred here will... Alfred here will show you to your throne in the toy department. And remember, you work at Macy's now.
Imagine that. Making a child take something she doesn't want, all in the name of profit. Oh, that's what I've been fighting against for years.
What's that, Mr. Kringle?
The commercialization of Christmas.
Toys, toys, toys for all the girls and boys. Let your shopping trip commence. Bring your dollars and good cents for toys, toys, toys for all the girls and boys.
'Cause the holidays are perfect to do what makes life worth living.
So come on down to Macy's. It's the season for giving.
Are you really Santa Claus?
Well, yes, I am. Now, what would you like me to bring you for Christmas?
I would like a red fire engine with a real hose that squirts real live water. And I won't do it in the house. Honest, only in the backyard, I promise.
Well, you seem like a very good little boy. I promise you will get your fire engine.
You see, Mama, I told you he'd get me one.
Yeah, that's fine. That's dandy. Monica, go wait over there a minute. Mama wants to thank Santa for his help. Personally.
Madam, would you like to make a Christmas?
Look, my kid wants a fire engine, but there isn't one to be had anywhere in town. Macy's ain't got one. Gimbel's ain't got one. Ain't nobody got one. My feet are killing me, and you say, okay, the kid gets one? Can't you sell him something you have here?
But, my dear, you can get one of those fire engines at Schnittkopf's, yes, on Lexington Avenue. Oh, $4.50 apiece. Now, that's a real bargain.
Schnittkopf.
Yes, really.
Hey, I don't get it.
Well, I follow the toy market very, very closely.
No, I mean, Macy's is sending customers to other stores now? Are you kidding?
Oh, yeah, sure.
I don't get it. I just don't get it. Mortimer! Put down that rocket!
Come on, Alfred. Keep the children moving along. Now, who's next, please?
Yes, Mr. Shellhammer. Come along, little girl. It's your turn to see Santa.
Oh, hello, little girl, and what would you like for Christmas?
Roller skates!
Oh, then you shall have them!
Mama, Santa said he's gonna get me roller skates!
That's wonderful. And I'm sure you have some fine skates here at Macy's, don't you, Santa Claus?
Oh, well, they're good enough, but, I left some wonderful roller skates at Gimbel's. Yes, at Gimbel's. You will get exactly what this little wonderful girl deserves.
Gimbel's.
Merry Christmas.
Is that what you just said, Gimbels?
Mr. Shellhammer! Oh, excuse me, are you Mr. Shellhammer?
Gimbels. That's what he said, isn't it? Gimbels?
The sales lady said I should speak to you.
Mother!
Gimbels.
Hold your horses, Mortimer! Mr. Shellhammer, I just wanted to congratulate you on this wonderful new stunt you're pulling.
Gimbels?
Imagine a big outfit like Macy's putting the spirit of Christmas before the commercial.
Gimbels?
From now on, I'm gonna be a regular Macy's customer.
Mother!
All right, Mortimer, we're going!
Gimbels!
Later that day.
Here's the toy department, Mr. Gailey.
Well, you certainly know all about Macy's, Susan.
Well, as you know, my mother works here. But I still find it funny how you bring me down here to meet Santa Claus when you could easily drop me upstairs at my mother's office.
Well, I just figure maybe if you talk to him, you might start to believe.
I doubt that, Mr. Gailey, but I'm a reasonable person and I'm certainly willing to try.
Okay, little girl, it's your turn.
Oh, what a charming young lady. What is your name?
Susan Walker, what's yours?
Mine? Kris Kringle. I'm Santa Claus.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, do you doubt that? I don't think you believe me.
Well, you see, my mother is Doris Walker, the one who hired you. But I must say, you're the best looking Santa Claus I've ever seen.
Well, thank you.
Most believable at any rate. Here, for instance, it doesn't have any of those strap things up over your ears.
Well, that's because it's real, just like I'm really Santa Claus. Go ahead, give it a pull, give it a try. You say,
Oh my goodness, it is real!
Yes, yes. All right, please let go.
Oh, I apologize.
Well, that's quite all right, quite all right. Now, what would you like me to bring you for Christmas?
Nothing, thank you. Whatever I want. My mother would get for me as long as it's sensibly priced.
Oh.
That's quite right, dear.
Hello, Mother.
Hello, Mr. Haley.
Hello. The explanation for this is very simple. See, your housekeeper's mother, she sprained her ankle, so she had to go home, and she asked me to bring Susie down here to you. I figured while we were here, we might as well say hello to Santa Claus.
He's a very nice old man, Mother. He has real whiskers.
Yes, dear, a lot of old men have whiskers like that. Susan, would you go in over there a minute? I'd like to speak with Mr. Haley.
Yes, I'll be by the dolls. The sensibly priced ones.
I shouldn't have taken Susie to see Santa, is that it?
Now you're making me feel completely heartless.
I'm sorry.
Don't you see? I tell Susan Santa Claus is a myth, and you show her an old man with very convincing real whiskers. Whom is she to believe?
I understand, and I apologize. I acted out of turn. This I realize. Perhaps it wasn't my place, but if you've got a moment, I'd like to make my case.
Proceed, counselor.
The world is sometimes rough, at times it can be tough. Some fun can brighten up your face and help in the diffusing of feeling that you're losing a never-ending race. And there's nothing like the short reprieve that you can get from a little make-believe.
Mr. Gailey, when Susan was a baby, her father and I were divorced.
Yes, she told me.
And ever since then, I've tried to protect my daughter by teaching her realities.
Even when reality is banality.
We don't believe in fairy tales or fables, because fantasy enables ideals you cannot obtain. And I won't add to her confusion, set her up for disillusion and unnecessary pain. If she keeps waiting for Prince Charming to come and sweet talk her.
Weren't we talking about Susie, Mrs. Walker?
Yes, well.
So you don't believe in flying reindeer?
No, we're both sane here.
Not Comet or
Mr.
Cupid?
Gailey, don't be stupid.
Not Dancer or
I think
Prancer?
you know the answer.
Not even a bit.
I'm her mother. I'll raise her as I see fit.
Of course.
Thank you.
But why not entertain
I
some?
prefer to abstain from
A little make-believe. It's not a crime to have.
We don't have time to have
A little make-believe.
I must ask you to respect my wishes.
Of course. I meant no offense.
Good evening, Mr. Gailey. All right, Susan, come along. The store's about to close. We're going to run to my office.
Yes, Mother. Goodbye, Mr. Gailey.
Toward the conclusion of the busy day, Chris makes his way up to Doris Walker's office.
Hello, Mrs. Walker. Alfred said you wanted to see me.
Oh yes, come in.
Thank you. What a delightful daughter you have.
Oh, thank you. Susan's actually the reason I asked you to see me.
Oh, really?
I'd be grateful if you'd tell her you're not really Santa Claus, that there actually is no such person.
Oh, but surely there is, and Here I am to prove it.
No, you misunderstand. I want you to tell her the truth. Now, what's your real name?
Kris Kringle, and I always tell the truth. Susan, you must be in the first grade.
Second grade.
I mean your real name.
Oh, that is my real name. The second grade?
Very well, I have your employment card right here. I'll just look it up on that.
What a beautiful dress you have on.
Thank you. I got it from Macy's. We get 10% off. It's a very nice cane you have.
Oh, thank you. Would you like to know a secret? I made it from...
Susan, would you please go out into the hallway and speak with Miss Harney for a moment?
Of course, she always gives me treats and oh, that part was confidential.
That's all right, dear. You may have one. So, you always tell the truth, do you?
Yes. Mhm.
Look at your employment card.
Let's see, name, Kris Kringle. Address, Brooks Memorial Home, Lexington, Great Neck, Long Island. Yes, you can call the office and talk to Dr. Pierce if you'd like to confirm that, Sir. It's a home for elderly gentlemen.
And would you also like me to confirm this?
What's that?
Date of birth.
Oh, yes.
As old as my tongue and a little bit older than my teeth. Place of birth, the North Pole. Now, really?
Why, Miss Walker, I believe you're beginning to doubt me.
And this one tops everything. Next of kin. Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, and Vixen.
Yes, and Comet and Cupid and Dancer and Blitzen. But the line wasn't long enough.
Look, I'm sorry to have to do this, Mr.
Kringle.
But I'm afraid we're going to have to let you go.
Oh. Well, have I done something wrong?
No, it's just that we feel... Oh, excuse me.
Yes.
Hello?
Mrs. Walker, this is Mr. Shellhammer. Drop whatever you're doing. Mr. Macy wants to see you immediately.
Okay, I'll be right up. I'm afraid I'm going to have to be very abrupt with you. You'll be paid for the full week of working, Mr. Kringle, and I'll send your check to the address on your employment card.
No.
When R.H. Macy calls you up to his office, you hop to it. And that's precisely what Doris does as she heads to the top floor.
Oh, come in, Mrs. Walker, come in.
Thank you, Mr. Macy.
Now, about this new policy you have initiated.
Oh.
Macy's Santa Claus sending our customers to Gimbals.
I can explain everything, Mr.
You
Macy.
don't have to explain a thing. Just look at my desk. 43 telegrams and over 500 phone calls. Grateful parents expressing their undying gratitude to Macy's department stores.
You don't say.
And from now on, not only will our Santa Claus continue in this manner, but every salesperson in the entire store.
You mean if we haven't got what the customer's asking for,
We're to send him to where he can get it. No more high pressuring or forcing a customer to purchase something he really doesn't want.
I think that's wonderful, Mr. Macy.
From now on, we'll be known as the helpful store, the friendly store, the store that puts public service ahead of profits. And consequently, we'll make more profits than ever. And as for you and Mr. Shellhammer, you'll find a more practical expression of my gratitude in your Christmas envelopes.
Oh, thank you.
And you tell that wonderful Santa Claus of yours I haven't forgotten about him either. Matter of fact, I'll tell him myself in the morning.
Okay.
Good night. Good night.
Good night, Mr. Macy, and thank you again, sir.
Doris finds Mr. Shellhammer back in the public relations department and relates the good news first.
Oh, imagine! A bonus!
Yes.
Well, what's the matter with you?
I just fired him.
Who?
Santa Claus?
Oh, no. No, you couldn't
But
have!
I did. He's crazy, Mr. Shellhammer. He's a very kind old man, but he really thinks he is Santa Claus.
I don't care if he thinks he's Maureen O'Hara. You've got to get him back!
It's too great a risk. Don't you see, Mr. Shellhammer? He's out of his mind. What if he no, I've got to tell Mr. Macy.
Don't do that! Maybe this Kris Kringle is only a little crazy. Anyway, we can't be sure until he's examined. We'll send him to Mr. Sawyer in personnel.
Sawyer?
Well, he's paid to examine employees, isn't he?
Well, yes.
Good! Well, don't just stand there. Find him! Find him! Or else Mr. Macy is going to present us with a very unmerry Christmas.
Has Doris Walker gone down in history as simultaneously the best and worst thing to ever happen at Macy's? Will she be able to track down Kris Kringle in time? Find out when Miracle on 34th Street continues after this commercial break. And now, a word from our sponsor, Radio Corporation of America.
Hey, US of A, you got a call from the future.
Call from the future.
When communications are down and wounded, we'll be the suture.
We'll be the suture.
You're tactical, so we're practical. On air or sea or land, you want secure transmissions.
We got the vision to keep you in position.
To complete the mission, task at hand, performance you require, and value you expect. So stick with RCA and help the USA.
RCA, for all your home entertainment, tactical military communications, and surveillance needs. And now, part 2 of Miracle on 34th Street. After dismissing the best Santa Claus in Macy's history, Doris Walker contacted Dr. Pierce at the Brooks Memorial Home and now rushes to meet Mr. Kris Kringle under the beautiful trees outside the home.
Thank you for meeting with me, Mr. Kringle. I'm afraid I acted rather abruptly and perhaps unfairly. Well, Mr. Macy and I would love it if you'd stay on.
Oh, that is wonderful news.
Oh, thank goodness.
Oh, you see, Mrs. Walker, I have been really worried about Christmas for the last 50 years or so. You see, Christmas is not a thing, it's a frame of mind. Oh, and that's what they've been changing. And now that you've asked me back, then I can try to do something about it. Oh, and I'm also very thankful to have met you and your daughter. Yes, you're rather my test case.
We are?
Yes. Sort of the whole thing wrapped up in miniature. Yes, but if I win you over, then there is hope. Oh, but if I don't, then I guess I'm through. Oh well, I'll be trying, and I must warn you, I do not give up easily.
Well, I do admire your passion. Now, first thing tomorrow, please report to Mr. Sawyer in personnel for an exam.
A mental examination?
Well, partly yes.
Well, I've taken dozens of them, passed them all, and I'll pass this one as well.
Help me, doctor. I'm coming down with something that's messing with my business. I can't stop being kind. I think I'm losing my mind. I think I'm coming down with a little bit of Christmas.
Dusting off his sharpest suit, Kris finds his way to the personnel department and to Mr. Sawyer's office.
Oh, Mr. Sawyer, I've dusted off my finest suit and I've come here to see you. Good morning.
That's your own beard, isn't it?
Oh, yes it is, yes.
Interesting complex in the back of that. Why do you carry a cane?
Oh, well, I always carry a cane. Well, that is when I'm in my street clothes. Yes, I made it from one of the runners from one of my sleighs.
What's that?
Yes, with a fine silver top.
Who was the first president of the United States?
Why don't you give me a more difficult one, like who was the first vice president under James Monroe?
It was... I'm conducting this examination!
Well, it was Daniel D. Tompkins. And you're rather nervous man, aren't you, Mr. Sawyer? Do you get enough sleep?
My personal habits are of no concern of yours. Now, what hand am I holding up?
Your right hand.
And how many fingers do you see?
3. Oh, and you bite your nails.
Why? Stand up now. Feet together. Arms extended.
Oh, muscular coordination test, yes. You know, nervous habits like yours, Mr. Sawyer, are often caused by a great sense of insecurity. Are you happy at home?
What? That's all, Kringle. This examination is over.
Oh, thank you. Good day, Mr. Sawyer.
It may interest you to know that I've been happily married for over 22 years.
Oh, I'm so thankful for that. Have a very good day, Mr. Sawyer.
Miss Braun!
Yes, sir?
Miss Braun, get Mrs. Walker on the phone.
Yes, sir, but your wife, Mr. Sawyer, she's called 4 times already.
Well, you tell that horrible wife of mine to leave me alone and mind her own business.
Here's Mrs. Walker, sir.
Oh, all right. Hello?
Oh, Dr. Sawyer, I was just going to call you.
Oh?
I have a Dr. Pierce stopping by my office this afternoon at 3.
Who's Dr. Pierce?
She's the physician at the Brooks home. I thought we might discuss Chris's case.
Well, I hardly see any point in discussing it. Obviously, the old man should be discharged.
Discharge? Well, thankfully, Dr. Pierce stops by Doris' office to set the record straight.
How long have you known him, Dr. Pierce?
Well, he wandered into the home, I'd say, about 8 months ago. Just looked the place over and said, this'll do. Just stayed on.
Has he ever told you his real name?
He said his name was Chris Kringle. I never pressed him further.
Dr. Pierce, as I told Mrs. Walker, the Kringle should be dismissed immediately and sent to a mental institution.
Oh, now just a minute, Mr. Sawyer. People are institutionalized to keep them from hurting themselves or others.
He's deluded, saying that he's Santa Claus.
It's delusion for good. I found he only ever wants to be friendly and helpful.
Ugh, his whole manner suggests aggressiveness. Now just look at the way he carries that cane. Mrs. Walker, naturally I can't dismiss that loony, so when he exhibits his maniacal tendencies, and I assure you he will, please realize the responsibility is completely yours.
Wonderful. Now I'm right back where I started.
Mrs. Walker, I can assure you that Mr. Kringle has no maniacal tendencies.
But if there's any chance of him causing any sort of trouble,
What trouble?
all that need happen is a policeman asks his name. Chris Kringle, clang clang, and the Macy's Santa ends up in the psychopathic ward.
Well, there's a very simple solution for that. Surely there must be someone here at the store who'd be willing to rent him a room. Then they could come to work together. I'd much sooner he avoided that long train ride to Long Island anyway.
You mean someone to sort of take custody of him?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Mr. Kringle would agree to that?
Oh, I'm sure he'll agree.
Now let's see. Who do I know who can rent him a room?
Good King Wenceslas looked down on the feast of Stephen.
Stephen!
When the snow lay round about, deep and crisp and even,
Brightly shone the moon that night.
though the frost was cruel.
The frost was cruel.
But
When a poor man came in sight.
gathering winter fuel.
Very glad you're having dinner with us, Mr. Kringle.
Oh, thank you, Susan, thank you.
And I'm also very glad you're going to live next door with Mr. Gailey.
Oh?
Because you're nice to talk to.
Well, thank you. Oh, I'm very grateful. Take that Mr. Gailey now. He's just a very delightful fellow, isn't he? Imagine inviting me to stay with him in his apartment. A mere stranger.
Well, he did that because Mother hinted him to.
invitation hint. Well, I'm still very, very grateful. Oh, tell me, what do you think of Mr. Gailey?
Well, he's become a dear friend of mine. More than most of the children at my school, actually. Shall I tell you what we did today?
What you did in school today? Oh, yes. Any games?
This is a very silly one, too.
Really?
We played zoo and each child was supposed to be an animal.
Oh, well, they were just pretending.
That makes the game so silly.
Well, in order to have play games, you have to have an imagination.
Is that when you see things but they're not really there?
Well, sort of, yes, but I see the imagination as a very special place. You know, you've heard of the French nation
Yes.
and the British nation. Well, this is the imagination. And it's a very special place indeed. How would you like to make snowballs in the summertime? Or wake up in the morning and be the Statue of Liberty, and then in the afternoon fly south with a flock of geese?
Well, I might try. I'd like to.
Oh, but it's really very, very, very simple. Now, next time you're at school and you're playing zoo, you can be a turkey.
But I don't know how to be a turkey.
You don't? Oh, well, let me show you. No, it's really very, very simple. Now, you sort of bend at the waist, lean forward, stick your chin out like this, push your chest a little bit forward, yeah? Bring one arm back and bend it, bring the other arm back and bend it, and then you flap. Oh, yes, excellent flapping. Yes, flap, 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 flap. And then you gobble.
Gobble?
Oh, yes, like the... Oh, it's flap and gobble, flap, gobble, and flap and gobble. Yes, oh, it's so excellently done. Yes, keep practicing. Flap, gobble.
Hi, they're making quite a racket in there.
Sounds to me like they're having quite a bit of fun. Are you sure you don't want any help cooking?
No, thank you. I'm almost done, but you can set the table. Before the turkeys arrived, you were telling me about your position.
Yes, the law firm of Hazlitt, Sherman, and Mackenzie. It's very good to me, but, well, being an exceptional lawyer, I naturally want to open my own office.
Oh, naturally. All right, turkeys, flap on over to the table. It's dinner time.
Try it, Mother, try it!
Oh, no.
Maybe kind of like this?
Rightly shone the moon at night.
Rightly shone the moon at night.
Rightly shone the moon at night.
Rightly shone the
Susan, are you still awake? Oh, well, I just came by to say good night before Mr. Gailey and I have to take our leave. Now, about Christmas. There must be something that you really, really want. Maybe something you haven't told your mother. Come on now, give me a try, give me a chance.
Well, I thought about one thing.
Really? What is it?
It's right here on this knit table. It's a picture of a house.
Oh, you want a dollhouse. Oh, colonial architecture.
Not a doll's house, a real house.
A real house? Oh, well, I don't know. What would you do in a big house?
Well, I could live in it with my mother, with a big backyard with a big tree with a swing on it, and a... Well, why even discuss it?
Well, would you mind if I kept this picture just in case?
I guess so.
Oh, good. Okay, now I really have to take my leave. Good night, Turkey.
Could I, Mr. Kringle?
Therefore, gentlemen, be sure, wealth and great clothes is
Take whichever bed you want, Mr. Kringle.
Thank you. This is very, very kind of you, Mr. Gailey. Now, what is it that you do exactly?
Oh, well, I'm a lawyer. Hazlip, Sherman, and Mackenzie.
Of course. And do you like living in the city?
Well, it's convenient. But someday I'd like to get a place on Long Island. Not a big house, just one of those junior partner deals around Manhasset.
Oh, you mean one of those little colonial houses?
Yeah. Yeah, a small colonial house would be swell.
Oh, good. But now, you're rather fond of Mrs. Walker, aren't you?
Well, a lot of good it does me. She lives in a cast iron shell that's just a little difficult to penetrate.
Well, you see, if you really are fond of Mrs. Walker, you're going to have to try very, very hard. You see, like many divorced people, Mrs. Walker is determined not to get hurt again. You see, she and Susan are rather like lost souls, and we have to reach out and help them.
Oh?
Oh, yes. I'll tell you what, I'll take care of Susie if you will take care of her mother, and then, in time, they will both take care of you.
Me?
Oh, yes.
Do I need taking care of?
Oh, yes, Fred. You're lost, too.
In what way?
Well, you know, all of us need someone to believe in us. You know, you and them and me. Shall I turn on the light?
Oh, no, not yet. No, I will not be cheated out of this. You know, all my life I've wondered, and now I am going to find out. So tell me, does Santa Claus sleep with his whiskers inside or outside of the covers?
Well, outside, of course. The cold helps it to grow.
Early morning, back on the top floor of Macy's department store.
It's smart to be thrifty, it's smart to be sure. If you're sick of shopping, then we'll be the cure.
10 beautiful floors, the widest selection of quality goods.
The service.
Perfection.
If we're out of stock, don't begin to sorrow.
When will Macy's have it?
Day after tomorrow,
If you want to pay cash,
pay less. There's only one way, see.
It's smart to be thrifty.
It's smart to be sure. It's smart to shop Macy's.
Oh, come in, Mrs. Walker, come in!
thank you, Mr. Macy. I have some very exciting news.
You do? Now let me tell you something very exciting. Our new policy of being kind to customers has tripled our sales. Now, what do you think of that?
Oh, I think that's wonderful, Mr. Macy. And Gimbals thinks it's wonderful too.
Gimbals.
Gimbals has adopted the same policy.
Well, is that so?
And it gives me an idea. As long as Gimbals is doing the same thing, why not take some pictures for the newspaper?
Pictures.
Yes, of you and Mr. Gimbal shaking hands.
Shaking hands! R.H. Macy! And Gimbal.
Well, yes.
Yes. With Santa Claus. Oh, that's a wonderful idea, Mrs. Walker. Macy and Gimbal. Shaking hands. There's no one else that undersells Gimbals. The department store that excels Gimbals. Come on down to 33rd, facing Greeley Square. Everything that you might need, Gimbals has it there. Not just a store, an innovator, Gimbals. The first to have an escalator, Gimbals. 11 floors, the staff is bright and nimble. Select, don't settle at Gimbals. Gimbals!
Thank you. Well, Mr. Gimbal.
Come on, R.H. Now let's go down to my store and get some really good pictures.
Not so fast. I have something for Santa Claus. Thank you. Here you go, Mr. Kringle. A check in appreciation for all you've done.
Oh, Mr. Macy, this is an amazing gift. Thank you so much.
I didn't know you were that generous, R.H. Let me see that. Huh. That's quite a check. What do you plan to do with it, Mr. Kringle?
Well, I have a friend, Dr. Pierce, and she needs a new x-ray machine.
Buy the machine in store. 10% discount.
Nonsense. Come on over to Gimbals. We'll furnish it at cost.
Oh, keep it up, gentlemen. Keep it up, keep it up. Oh, soon she'll have a whole new hospital.
It's smart to be thrifty, it's smart to be sure.
It's smart to shop Gimbals. Gimbals. Come on down to 33rd.
Come to Herald Square, 10 beautiful floors.
The widest selection.
11 floors, that is right hand.
It's smart to shop.
Select, don't settle at Gimbals.
Macy's.
Gimbals.
Macy's.
Gimbals.
Macy's.
Gimbals.
Macy's.
Gimbals. Gimbals.
Back in the employee area at Macy's, Chris and Alfred ponder how the publicity photos turned out.
How did the publicity photos turn out, Mr. Kringle?
Oh, fine, Alfred. Say, how about at lunch we play some checkers,
Not today, Chris. I don't feel so good.
Well, what's wrong, Alfred?
Oh, nothing really. You know how I was telling you I like to dress up as Santa Claus and go down to the Y and hand out presents to the kids? Well, I was telling that Mr. Sawyer about it, and he says that that's very bad. That psychologically it's all wrong.
It's bad to be kind to children.
Yeah, well, he says that guys that dress up as Santa now do it because when they was young, they must have done something very bad, and now they're doing something good to make up for it. See, it's what he calls a guilt complex.
Oh, guilt complex. Well, has he found out anything else wrong with you?
No, not really. Just that I hate my father. I didn't know it, but apparently I do.
Excuse me? Oh, excuse me.
Hey, aren't you gonna have lunch?
Oh, no. I have an appointment with this Mr. Sawyer.
Uh-oh, uh-oh. Uh-oh, uh-oh. Uh-oh, uh-oh.
You better watch out.
You better not lie.
You better not shout now, listen to why.
Santa Claus is coming. If you're on his list, then you're out of luck. Your time has run out. Your goose has been plucked. Santa Claus is coming. You better watch out. What do you mean breaking into my office like this?
Mr. Sawyer, are you a licensed psychiatrist?
Oh, what business of it is yours? Now leave, you lunatic, before I have you thrown out of here.
Well, I want you to know I have a great deal of respect for psychiatry and a great deal of contempt for amateurs who meddle in it.
Shut up!
You ought to be horsewhipped. Taking a young fellow like Alfred and filling him with all sorts of ideas, complexes, and phobias.
Well, I think I'm better equipped to judge that than you.
Well, just because he wants to be kind to children, you tell him he has a guilt complex?
Having the same delusion. You couldn't possibly understand. Now, don't you wave that cane at me, sir.
Now, listen here. If you don't stop analyzing Alfred, then I'm going straight to Mr. Macy's office and tell him what a contemptible fraud you are.
Now, get out of here! Get out of here before I have you thrown out!
Oh, there's only one way to handle a man like you. Knock some sense into you.
Oh, my head!
Now, I have made my point, and I shall take my leave.
This is his coming and he's here to protect it.
expected. Santa Claus is coming.
Miss Prune, get me Mrs. Walker on the phone. No. Get me the police. No. Get me the psychiatric ward at Bellevue Hospital. Chris Kringle just signed his own admission slip.
Leave off the dog who was drinking his noggin. Getting escaped on his magic toboggan.
Santa Claus committed. Sawyer, the pseudo-psychiatrist, triumphant. And one of Chris's friends, little Susan, Doris, and Fred. And what about Miss Sprung? Why now when we return to Miracle on 34th Street after a great intermission?
He's coming to town, so don't mess around. Santa Claus is coming. Santa Claus is coming. So don't mess around. Santa Claus is coming to town.
All right, we're on air in 5, 4, 3, 2. And now, a word from our sponsor, Lux Brand Soap.
When you need to clean with care,
Wash with Lux, your favorite soap.
wash your body, hands, and hair.
Wash with Lux, your favorite soap.
Lux liquid for your dishes, Lux bars for beauty wishes, and if you're in a quandary, Lux flakes for laundry. Wash with Lux, your favorite soap. Make Lux flakes your favorite pick.
Wash with Lux, your favorite soap.
18 uses for enjoyment.
Beauty facial.
Scrubbing toilets. No matter what comes your way, you've got one home. Wash with Lux, your favorite soap.
And now, part 3 of Miracle on 34th Street.
God rest ye merry gentlemen, let nothing you dismay. Remember Christ our Savior was born on Christmas Day to save us all when we have gone astray. So with true love and brotherhood, each other now embrace. Oh, tidings of joy, tidings of joy, tidings of comfort and joy. Oh, tidings of joy, tidings of joy, tidings of comfort and joy.
Chris Kringle, who has opened the hearts of New York residents, sits alone in a holding room at Bellevue Hospital. However, a visitor has arrived, heralding hope.
You can see Mr. Kringle now, Mr. Gailey.
Thank you, nurse. Hello, Chris.
Oh, hello, Fred.
Chris, I've been speaking to the doctors. They say they've given you some tests.
Oh, yeah, Jess. Same old examinations, same tests.
Yes, but this time you failed to pass them. Chris, you deliberately failed. Why?
Well, you see, I was hoping that Mrs. Walker was beginning to believe in me, but Then I find out she's just humoring me all along.
But Mrs. Walker had nothing to do with this. That Mr. Sawyer had you sent up here before she even knew about it, and now there's nothing she can do.
Oh, that Mr. Sawyer. He is the most contemptible, dishonest, deceitful man. Oh, and what I can't believe is that he's out there and I'm in here. If that's what normal is, no, I want nothing to do with it.
Oh, but you can't just think of yourself, Chris. If there's one thing we can count on, it's Santa Claus on Christmas Day. Santa in his magic sleigh, Santa in his special way, making spirits bright every Christmas Eve night.
Fred, what are you doing?
Why, it's Christmas, so I'm singing. I know you're tempted here right now to think just of yourself. You've spent your whole life giving to every boy and girl and elf. Believe me, I would understand if you called it a day. But before you pack it in, I would like to say, don't let us down. Don't let us down. Don't let the doubt of simple people turn you round. Folks like me believe in what you stand for. In fact, all of New York thinks you're the guy to strike up the band for. So bring back those rosy cheeks and wipe away your frown. Dear Kris Kringle, don't let us down. Some folks think that faith is best contained under a steeple. But what happens to you matters to many people. Oh, to believe in something can change someone. Kids like Susie, who have just begun.
Oh, well, you're right, Fred. Of course you're right. I ought to be ashamed of myself. Come on, let's get out of here.
Oh, well, you flunked your mental examinations, but good.
Yes, I did. Yes, I told them that the first president of the United States was Captain America. Oh, but you're a lawyer. You can think of something.
Hey, look, I can't just...
Don't let me down. Don't let me down.
I won't let you down. I won't let doubt turn me around.
The greatest part of believing the impossible is it serves as a reminder that there's no road uncrossable.
You're the hope that keeps us going when we're breaking down. Dear Kris Kringle,
Dear Mr. Gilly,
I won't let you down.
I won't let you down.
As had become their custom, Susan, Doris, and Fred clean up after dinner in his apartment.
Another delicious meal.
Well, thank you. Reheating leftovers is my specialty.
What are you gonna do about Mr. Kringle, Fred?
I'm not quite sure, Susie. Perhaps some hot chocolate will thaw my frozen brain. I'll get us all some.
Thank you, Fred. Susan, would you pass me that plate, please? Susan?
Fred is trying his best, isn't he, Mother?
Well, of course, Susan. He'll help Chris.
I do hope so. I think Fred can get to do great things if he applies himself to.
I feel the same way. I'll finish cleaning up.
I remember looking down at him from this window. He was so happy and kind to everyone in the crowd. He doesn't deserve be treated like this.
I agree, darling. Now shut that window. You'll catch a chill.
But it just started, Snow Mother. Look. I like to pretend I'm going to see an entire world inside each snowflake.
You like to pretend?
Since Mr. Kringle came along, and it's funny, Mother.
What's funny, dear?
The children at school seem different to me now. I look at them like I look at each snowflake. Each one is different, and each one shows me something new.
I've started to look at the world that way as well. That's had more to do with you, Doris.
Thank you, though I think Chris had quite a lot to do with that as well. Like this hot chocolate recipe, for example, it's perfect. It's because he's Santa, of course.
You really think so?
Well,
It's because he's Santa. Of course!
Fred?
You know what? You've just given me the idea that I've been looking for.
Extra, extra, extra! Coal in Santa's stockings, bats in his belfry. Extra, extra!
34 years for 34th Street, Santa.
Extra, extra! Look at the news. Santa's in trouble and he's being recused. Time's running out. Christmas is nearing.
Daily Bulletin may say Santa Claus to have lunacy hearing.
Extra, extra! Read all about it. The headlines just get crazier each time that we shout it. Christmas is becoming a comical caper. Read all about it for a nickel a paper.
Extra, extra!
Santa's making headlines. She's managed to drive.
A United Nations story back to page 5.
New York Express.
Chris Kringle crazy.
Court case coming.
Candies cry calamity. The city is humming.
Evening Dispatch, doctors doubt sanity of Santa who launched Goodwill campaign.
Christmas is coming. The goose is getting fatter. Santa Claus is making quite a stir in Manhattan. We're decking halls of holiday valiance while Santa's fate is hanging in the balance. It may perplex ya, it may vex ya. Merry Christmas. Extra, extra.
Well, good morning.
Good morning. You may proceed with the witness, Mr. Assistant District Attorney. Hi, I'm Thomas Mara. What's your name?
Oh, my name is Chris Kringle.
Now, where do you live, please?
Oh, well, I think that's what this hearing is going to decide, isn't it?
Mr. Kringle, do you really believe that you are Santa Claus?
Oh, yes, I do.
That's all, Your Honor. The state rests its case. In view of this, statement, do you wish to put in a defense, Mr. Gailey?
I do, Your Honor. I'm fully aware of my client's opinions. In fact, that's the entire case against him, that Mr. Kringle is not sane because he believes that he is Santa Claus.
An entirely logical conclusion.
Well, not necessarily, Your Honor. You believe yourself to be Judge Harper, and yet no one questions your sanity because you are, in fact, Judge Harper.
Mr. Kringle is the subject of this sanity hearing, not I.
Exactly. So I intend to prove that Mr. Kringle is Santa Claus.
Mr. Mara, I thought you said this was a cut and dried sanity hearing. I thought it was, Your Honor. In view of Mr. Gailey's statement, I'll need to review the entire background of this case. Court's adjourned till tomorrow morning.
That evening, champagne at the ready, Fred heads to Doris's apartment.
Deck the halls with boughs of holly. La 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 la, la 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 la. 'Tis the season to be jolly. La 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 la, la 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 la. Don we now our gay apparel? Fa la 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 la. Troll the ancient Yuletide carol. La 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 la, la 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 la.
Hello, darling. I'm sorry I'm late, but get ready. We are really gonna celebrate tonight.
What are we celebrating?
Well, didn't you see the headlines? Santa's mouthpiece throws bombshell in New York Supreme Court.
Oh, darling. You can't really be serious about this. You can't actually prove that Kris Kringle is Santa.
Well, you saw Mr. Macy and Mr. Gimbel shake hands, and that wasn't possible either.
What does your firm have to say about it? Hayslip, Mackenzie, and the rest of them?
That I have jeopardized their prestige, and I better drop this impossible case, or they'll drop me.
You see?
So I beat them to it. I quit.
Fred, you threw away a career on a sentimental whim?
Well, I can always open my own office.
And what kind of clients will you get?
Oh, I don't know. Probably people like Chris. People who are tired of being pushed around. Doris, don't you have any faith in me at all?
It's not a matter of faith, it's common sense.
But faith is believing in something when common sense tells you not to. And besides, it's not just Chris on trial here. It's everything he stands for. Human kindness and love and dignity.
Darling, listen. We've hardly been apart since Thanksgiving, and, well, I've become incredibly fond of you. And we've talked about some wonderful plans for the future, haven't we? And then you do this? Throw away your security on a sentimental whim and expect me to be happy about it?
And I expect too much? Is that it? Why not try to have just a little blind faith, darling? I think I have a right to ask that.
Well, I think I have the right to ask you to be a little bit more practical and realistic.
Yes. Yes, I suppose you have. Oh, it's all cockeyed. Here we are, as close as two people could possibly be, and yet we're miles apart.
There's a loneliness about us, I know. I've tried my best.
Oh, I know you have. So have I, but, well, I'm afraid we're going to need a lot more than each other's arms, and I don't know if we've got it.
Funny. With all my common sense, I was just starting to think that this time it might work out.
Your head was telling you that?
My heart.
Darling. Well, that's that, I guess.
I guess it is. Good night, Fred.
Good night, Doris.
Fast away the old year passes. Fa la 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 la. La 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 la. Hail the new ye lads and lasses. Fa la 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 la. La 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 la. Sing we joyous all together. Fa la 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 la. Heedless of the wind and weather. Fa la 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 la. La 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 la.
Heads and hearts out of sync. What began as a celebration of victory derailed into a train of heartache. Can this engine find the track? Miracle on 34th Street will continue in a moment. And now, another word from our sponsor about Lux' new Diamond Soap Flakes.
When you want suds richer, when you want soap stronger, tiny diamonds of Lux make underwear last much longer.
Several days longer. Lingerie light as a whisper, caress from a lover.
9 out of 10 screen stars use Lux soap of rather.
Lux, for lovers.
If you want to feel like $1,000,000 bucks, use the diamonds of Lux.
Diamonds of Lux.
Despite their affection for one another, Doris and Fred can't seem to find a way to reconcile their differing views on faith and practicality. While at his home, Assistant District Attorney Thomas Merrill receives what to him is even more unsettling news.
Hello? Yes, this is Mr. Mara. Well, can't I wait till tomorrow? I'm kind of having dinner. Who's been subpoenaed? Well, how do you think I feel about it? I'll see you tomorrow!
Who is that, dear?
R.H. Macy's been subpoenaed.
Oh, my.
Those reporters, they make me out to be some type of sadistic monster who likes nothing more than to drown pussycats and tear the wings off butterflies, and I don't...
Dear, Tommy's still awake.
Oh, all right.
It'd just break his heart if he knew what his daddy is doing.
I'm doing my job as Assistant District Attorney.
Well, I'm starting to agree with those reporters. Mr. Kringle seems like a very nice old man, and I don't see why you have to keep persecuting him.
I'm not persecuting him. I'm prosecuting him. I like the old man too, okay? But there's nothing I can do about it.
Well, you know what, Thomas? Sometimes I wish I'd married a butcher. Or a plumber!
Well, if I lose this case, it's very possible you'll get your wish. R.H. Macy. I wonder what he's going to pull tomorrow. You may proceed with the witness, Mr. Gailey.
Now then, Mr. Macy. If you recognize the defendant, would you please tell us who he is?
Why, Kris Kringle, of course.
And do you believe him to be of sound mind?
Sound mind? I wish I had a dozen like him.
Mr. Macy, you are under oath. Do you believe that Mr. Kringle is Santa Claus?
Well, that's rather delicate to think. Just think of the headlines tomorrow. R.H. Macy admits his own Santa Claus is a fraud. Think of all you'll lose. Think all of Gimbals will gain. Gimbals! Gimbals! Curse you, Gimbals!
What's that, Mr. Macy?
Nothing, Mr. Gailey. Nothing.
Mr. Macy, if you'd please answer the question, is that man Santa Claus?
Yes! In my opinion, he most certainly is.
Well,
Your Honor, I see one of my employees, Mr. Sawyer, in the courtroom today. May I address him? Certainly. Mr. Sawyer? Mr. Sawyer, you're fired. Goodbye, Santa Claus.
Goodbye, Mr. Macy, and thank you.
Your Honor, there is no such person as Santa Claus, and everybody knows it.
But can you prove that there isn't any?
I won't even try it. I will not waste this court's time with such childish nonsense. Your Honor, the state requests an immediate ruling from this court. Is there or is there not a Santa Claus? The court will take a brief recess to consider the question.
Judge Harper retreats to his chambers, only to find an old friend, the man of the cloth, waiting.
Hello, Henry.
Ah, Charlie! What are you doing here?
What, an old friend can visit you in your chambers? And if you ask me, you never needed a friend like you do now. It's a good thing I am a priest. You can confide in me.
The Kringle case. I don't see what everybody's making such a big fuss about.
Well, Henry, that is Santa Claus you have in there, on trial for lunacy. In this case is dynamite, and you are coming up for re-election soon.
Ugh, Charlie, do you want to know what happened last night? Martha brought the grandchildren over for dinner. And the kids, they wouldn't even kiss Grandpa. They wouldn't even talk to me. Little Billy kicked me in the shed.
You see what I mean? If you go in there and rule that there's no Santa Claus, well, you might want to start looking for that chicken farm right now.
I'm a responsible judge. How can I seriously rule that there is a Santa Claus?
Well, maybe because of what happens if you don't. Say the kids read about it and they don't hang up their stockings, then what happens to the presents that are supposed to go in those stockings? Nobody buys them. And then the toy manufacturers, they have to lay off employees. By then you have the AFL and the CIO against you, and they are going to say it with votes, Henry. On those department stores, oh, they are going to love you too. And what about the Salvation Army? They have a Santa Claus on every street corner, and they take in a lot of money to help the poor. But you go ahead. You go in there and rule that there's no Santa Claus, but if you do, well, you can count on getting just 2 votes. Your own and that district attorney in there.
1 vote, Charlie. He's a Republican. Well, let's get this over with.
You better make a snappy out of hand, you
The question of Santa Claus seems to be largely a matter of opinion. The tradition of American law demands a broad and unprejudiced view of such a controversial matter. But, Your Honor, therefore, this court intends to keep its mind open. We shall seek evidence on either side. But the burden of proof clearly rests with my opponent. I mean, can he produce any evidence to support his views?
Your Honor, if I may, will Thomas Mara please take the stand?
Who, me?
No, not you. Thomas Mara Jr.? I believe he and his mother are in the courtroom today.
Hi, Papa.
Hi.
Now, Tommy, you know the difference between telling the truth and telling a lie, don't you?
Everyone knows you shouldn't tell a lie, especially in court.
Tommy, do you believe in Santa Claus?
Oh, sure I do. Gosh, he brought me a brand new sled last year.
And what does Santa Claus look like?
Well, there he is sitting over there.
Your Honor, I object! Overruled!
Tommy, how are you so sure that there even is a Santa Claus?
Well, because my papa told me so. Didn't you, Papa?
And you trust your papa, don't you?
Well, sure I do. Papa wouldn't tell me anything that wasn't so, would you, Papa?
Thank you, Tommy. You can go back to your mother now.
See you later, Papa.
You certainly will. Your
Santa
Honor?
Claus, don't forget. This year I want a football helmet.
Oh, you'll get one, Tommy.
Mr. Kringle, if you don't mind.
Oh, excuse me, Your Honor, sorry.
Your Honor, the state of New York concedes the existence of Santa Claus. But in so conceding, we demand that Mr. Gailey stop representing and presenting personal opinion as evidence. I insist he submit authority to prove that Kris Kringle is the one and only Santa Claus. Your point is well taken, Mr. Mara. Mr. Gailey, are you prepared to prove that Mr. Kringle is Santa Claus on the basis of unprejudiced authority?
Not just yet, Your Honor. I request an adjournment until this time tomorrow.
Thank heavens! Oh, I mean very well. Court's adjourned till tomorrow afternoon.
Normally perusing the papers for good old-fashioned news lightens the spirits of Doris and Susan. Tonight, together in their apartment, both search for hope in the dark.
Now come, Susan dear, finish your supper.
I can't, Mother. All those things are saying about Mr. Kringle and Mr. Gailey in the newspaper.
Oh, they're having this trial because he says he is Santa Claus.
He's so nice and kind and jolly. He's not like anyone else I know. He must be Santa.
You know something? I think you might be right.
Is Mr. Kringle sad now, Mother?
I'm afraid he must be.
And then I'll write them a note. Maybe that'll make them feel better. Dear Mr. Kringle, I hope you're well and that you're not feeling low. I'm not writing to ask you for presents. I just wanted you to know I believe in giants floating through the streets of the city. I believe in Mickey Mouse. I believe in Felix the Giddy. I believe in pretending. I believe it's a sure key to unlocking the way to be anything, even a turkey. I can make a snowball in December. I can fly with birds in the air. I have been to the imagination, and I like it there. I can see a world and a snowflake, all because of you. Though I couldn't before, now I believe in you. Don't forget who you are or what you've done. Don't forget all the miracles you've begun. Don't forget what you're part of. Always it's the start of, always there at the heart of Christmas Day. But the one thing I don't have to do is pretend for a moment that I believe in you. And that's because I do. All finished. Where shall I send it?
Send it to the New York County Courthouse. And just a moment before you seal it, I'd like to write something.
What did you write, Mother?
I believe in you too. Doris. Now go take your bath, dear. Oh, that's sweet. She addressed it to Santa. Oh, that's sweet, sweet. She addressed it to Santa. Susan, dear, I'll be right back. I'm running down the hall to Mr. Gailey's.
All right, Mother, but you could call him Fred. I know how you really feel about him.
Zipping down the hall, Doris gives Fred's apartment door the left floor.
Fred! Oh, Fred, please open up.
Just a moment, Doris. Okay, now what? Hey, I was gonna let you in, but you almost knocked me
I'm
over.
sorry, Fred.
And I'm sorry. Doris, listen, I've been thinking.
I've been thinking too. That's why I'm here.
The way we last left things. Oh, it wasn't fair of you.
And it
to
wasn't
try
fair of me either, but right now you need to listen.
I know, and I have listened. With my head, as well as my heart. And
Fred,
Doris,
this letter.
we need to meet in the middle of common sense and faith. Because Doris, I
Fred,
love
of course
you.
we're gonna meet in the middle, and of course we're gonna make this work, and of course you love me and I love you. But right now, I need you to read this letter. It could very well save your reputation and Mr. Kringle.
She addressed it to Santa Claus. How sweet.
How many letters to Santa do you just suppose the post office has?
I don't know, darling. Probably thousands. Doris, I love you. If you want to send a letter to the one you love, if you want to let them know that they're the ones you're thinking of, if you want your package packages delivered east or west. Send it with the very, very best. The United States Postal Service, USPS.
And since the defense has been unable to submit one shred of evidence to prove that Kris Kringle is the one and only Santa Claus, and since tonight is Christmas Eve, I ask all you fine people and Your Honor to sign these commitment papers without further delay.
I protest. I do have evidence. During Mr. Mayor's oration, the bailiff handed my client the evidence that I refer to.
What evidence?
This letter, Your Honor.
Yes, Mr. Kringle.
Yes, and it's from Susan Walker, and it says that she believes in me. This letter means more to me than anything in the whole wide world.
That letter, Your Honor, was delivered by the United States Post Office, an official agency of the federal government. Why, the post office is one of the largest business concerns in the world. Last year it had a gross volume of over $1 billion, and this year...
Your Honor, I'm sure we're all gratified that the post office department is getting along so well. But what business does it have on the bearing of this man?
My point is that the post office is a model of efficiency. Furthermore, the laws of this country make it a criminal offense to willfully misdirect mail or intentionally deliver it to the wrong party.
The state of New York is nothing short in its admiration of the United States Post Office Department. We happily concede that the Post Office Department is authoritative, prosperous, and efficient.
And that's for the record, Mr. Merrill?
For the record, anything to move on with this case.
Thank you. Your Honor, I argue that that letter is positive proof.
That one letter is hardly positive proof, Your Honor.
I have further exhibits, Your Honor, but I hesitate to produce them.
Come, put them on my desk.
But, Your Honor...
I said, put them on my desk.
All right, boys, bring them in.
Your Honor, what is this?
Mail carriers, please empty all of those mail bags on Judge Harper's desk.
Now, just a minute here.
Empty them all or be fined for contempt of court.
We'll do it, Your Honor. Through rain, through sleet, through courtrooms, anything. We deliver.
Through rain or snow or sleet, any climate that abounds, we'll brave any weather for swift completion of our rounds.
Mr. Gailey!
Your Honor, every one of those letters in every one of those mail bags is addressed to Santa Claus, and the post office delivered them. Therefore, the United States Post Office and the United States government recognizes Kris Kringle to be the one and only Santa Claus.
If the United States declares this man to be Santa Claus, this court will not dispute it. Case dismissed! And for the love of everything holy, get these envelopes out of my courtroom!
Merry Christmas, Your Honor. Merry Christmas, Mr. Mara.
So, when you need to bridge the distance quicker than the rest, send your post to the folks you trust the most, the very best. The United States Postal Service, USPS.
As soon as Kris got out of court, he went straight to Macy's to see Doris.
Oh, as soon as I got out of court, I came straight to see you, Doris.
Kris, I'm so glad you won.
Oh, yes. And Fred tells me you had something to do with it as well.
Well, it was a team effort.
Oh, I don't doubt it. Oh, by the way, tomorrow morning at Brooks Memorial Home, we're having a Christmas party, and I would love it if you and Susan would come.
We'll be there, Kris.
Oh, wonderful.
Kris, don't you think you could come home now and have dinner with us?
Tonight? Me? No. Tonight is Christmas Eve.
Oh, tidings of comfort and joy. Oh, tidings
party.
Chris, it's Mr. Macy.
Yes, and Mr. Gimble, and they are about to sing.
Stay, it's snowing.
I got to be going.
Stay, don't leave me.
I got to believe me.
I hope you don't go.
I've seen a few mistletoe, so maybe good 'cause it's cold outside, baby. I've got holiday treats. I think I'm ready to eat.
Then take a bite.
I've worked up an appetite.
Meanwhile, over at the other end of the party.
But Susan, you got so many presents.
Not the one I wanted, not the one Mr. Kringle was gonna get for me.
Well, what was it?
It doesn't matter. I knew I wouldn't get it, but I thought at least he'd tell me why.
Oh, Susan, I tried my
You
best.
couldn't get it because you're not Santa Claus.
Susan!
Just a nice old man like Mother said.
But I was wrong when I told you that. You must believe in Mr. Kringle and keep right on believing. You must have faith in him.
That makes no sense, Mother.
Faith is believing in things when common sense tells you not to.
What?
I just mean that even though things don't work out the way you want them to the first time, you still gotta believe in people. I figured that out.
Hello, Doris.
Fred!
Mr. Gately! Mr. Gately!
Merry Christmas, Susie.
Well, you got here and we're ready to leave.
Oh, I've been here.
Oh.
And if you're ready to go home, I will take you home.
No. Before you leave, I've made you a map so you can miss a lot of traffic on the way. Now, you go down south for about 4 miles, and then you take Ashley Avenue. That's what you want, Ashley Avenue.
Thanks, Chris. And Merry Christmas.
Oh, and Merry Christmas to you, Fred. Oh, and to you, my dear. And to you, Susan.
I believe in you, Mr. Kringle. I do suppose it's silly clever, too.
Oh, I know that you did. Oh, and I believe in you, too.
I don't understand it. The map Chris gave definitely says Ashley Avenue. You've been on Ashley Avenue now.
Stop the car, Fredo! Stop the car!
Susan, darling, what is it? What's the matter?
There it is! The house! The house!
Susie,
What in the world?
she's running into that house.
It's a good thing there's no one home. It's brand new. It's just been built.
Yeah, for sale, it says. For sale.
What is that child up to?
Susie! Hey, Susie!
Here I am, upstairs!
Well, now come right back downstairs. You know you're not supposed to run around in other people's houses. Huh. That's strange.
I'll say.
No, I mean this house. I've seen this house somewhere before, maybe in a magazine.
It's
Or...
our house, Mother, the one I asked him for, Mr. Kringle.
Mr.
You
Kringle?
were right, Mommy, you were right.
Susie?
Mother told me if things didn't turn out just the way I wanted the first time, I had to keep on believing, and you were right, Mommy. Mr. Kringle is Santa Claus.
Now where are you going?
Out back to see if there's a swing. Oh my, there's a swing!
You told her that? About believing?
Well, you told me, Fred.
That for sale sign out front. Well, we can't let her down, can we?
Oh, darling, I never really doubted you. It was just my silly common sense.
Oh, there's nothing silly about your common sense. Even makes sense to believe in us now. Your brilliant idea about the mail, and, well, my equally brilliant execution. We make a great team to take a little old man and prove to the world that he's Santa Claus. Now that couldn't possibly
Fred.
What is it? What's the matter?
There, in the corner, by the fireplace.
Oh, no.
It can't be. It couldn't.
A cane. Chris's cane. Why, There couldn't be two kings like that anywhere in the world, made out of an old sleigh.
Silver handle and all.
Hey, you know something? Maybe we didn't do such a remarkable thing after all.
Maybe it wasn't us at all.
Maybe there is something bigger than we know. Something at this time of year beyond the falling snow. Beyond the dancing lights and tinsel on the tree that makes us into the people we always wish that we could be. Maybe there are miracles we can't begin to understand.
Maybe there are miracles if you just reach out your hand.
In a season of forgiving, when we all can start again, do a better job of living, bring kindness to our fellow man.
And if you believe in them and they believe in you, it can make a miracle happen to you.
So peace on earth, goodwill to man. Believe you can begin again, just like in a Christmas song. 'Cause Christmas is a state of mind. Have faith in someone and you'll find that maybe there are miracles. Miracles the whole year long.
Their faith restored. Doris, Susan, Fred, the citizens of New York, and the citizens of the globe, perhaps, have found a reason to believe not only in an idea, but in a tangible flesh and blood connection to one another. They're filled with that intangible dream stuff, hope. They'll take care of each other now. They'll love their fellows, and they'll soar through the snow. Will you?
Peace on earth, goodwill to man.
Believe you can begin again, just
Come to you, and a Merry Christmas too.
And God bless you.